All right. Hello, everybody. Happy Sunday. We're going to do some musing today. So, I got a lot of time, free time, and a lot of things that I can do. So, I wanted to kind of plan out my day, I guess. Just kind of do a musing, do some mundane things. Part of why I love this game so much is there's so many things to accomplish in here, and you get that sense of accomplishment that you did something. But you got to remember to do it in the real world, too. I mean, that's the danger of video games, is it is kind of like a casino or it's very similar, a lot of the things, and that's definitely not what I intended to talk about. Is how gaming can be addicting, like gambling, but not as dangerous as gambling, I would say, because gambling you're losing real money potentially, and that's why. Yeah, I guess that's a good place to start off with human nature in regards to gambling and shortcuts against other people. Now, and the threshold for shortcuts. Because I mean, the wealthiest people didn't get there from being good Samaritans, like, or or yielding to people when it was appropriate, like, or just like shortcuts is the best way to describe it. Now, I'm not saying that every rich person is evil and we need to get them. That's far from it. That's the purge, and that's the scary thing that like people try to put out there and eat the rich and all that. And while I laugh at it, I still like, ugh, sorry, I'm trying to phrase this the correct way. You should never do that. You should never kill somebody. Like that's just not cool. And it's like a fence post turtle. Like for people that inherit a bunch of wealth or whatever. I mean, they're just people too. Like we gotta like not lose sight of their humanity. As hard as it is sometimes when you see wealthy people just running around like haha. Like a lot of that's like implicit bias felt by us as we observe them because everything comes out of the woodwork, all of our stresses and our financial woes and concerns, things that these people never have to worry about, like not for a second. Like, oh, you got car insurance coming due, or your electric bill's going up, or gas becomes more expensive, or any of these things. And they can say that they sympathize all day and long, and they can honestly mean that they think they sympathize. But until you've walked in someone's shoes, that's why there's a lot of like really wealthy people that said, "Oh yeah, I've been broke before. I knew." Because then that was just extra motivation and determination that allowed them to continue pushing forward with an idea or a business, possibly taking shortcuts. So, and it's human nature. And like, so Bill Gates, I love the guy. He does so much amazing stuff that I've gone to bat for him in arguments online on XApp. Like I've defended his name and said, look at what he's doing. And it's not hard to find things that he's doing. I watched this like 60 Minutes, I think, that had three stories or three projects of his, and I honestly only remember two of them right now. One was the mushroom packaging, which, having worked in literally any company, there's a good chance that you'll see an inefficient use of packaging, like a bunch of plastics and cardboards and all that, that you're just going to throw in the trash and mix with all the other trash and then put in a landfill. Granted, I've had people try to explain to me how landfills are actually a good idea, and they're like, we're literally sweeping our problems under the rug, which, the irony isn't lost on me for that. Um, but I've heard that the way that they do it, and I would actually have to look into it to see just how bad that is, especially compared to just dumping it wherever. Like, you toss a bag of trash out a car, which the sad reality for some people, if you're poor and you don't really have much going on for you, and unfortunately that means a lot of migrants too, because they don't really have a very secure footing in this country yet. They just got here and they've got, you know, very little job skills, or if they do, that pertains to things. Not that Mexico businesses are any different on a grand scale. Like, they're not like cave people down there. I mean, and again, that's one of those kind of implicit biases that we all carry, whether we know it or not. And I trust you when you say that you would never do that knowingly, but not knowingly, accidentally, oh yeah, we all do it. I do it. I call women girls when I talk about them in stories. I hate that. And now that I've like noticed it and like I've started picking up on it, I'm like, you know, like for all my exes that hated me for things, like how do I not know that part of that, just part of how I talked, how I communicated, not what I meant, but what I said, and what you say is what's perceived. And if you say the message all garbled wrong or riddled with racial or sexist slurs or, degrading things, like calling Kamala Harris Kamala, that's one of the biggest ones, and that really irks me now. And so I just call Donald Donald. There, done. And see, it's not I mean, everybody's guilty of it, true. And like, especially when you're on display 24/7, like I can't imagine that life. Although I do kind of want to get into politics one day. But at the same time, that's a lot of stress, and I don't know if I really want to. Granted, I probably can't. I definitely can't by pre Y2K standards, like, because I have a checkered background, I've got a bit of a record, so they wouldn't let me near the White House or the House of Representatives or the Senate, like, and then given other things, like, they definitely won't let me fly a plane, like, and that's okay. I'm okay with that. If I never fly a plane, I'll be okay with that. Like, yeah, I'm more concerned about the 2A right that a lot of people lose, and like that. Wait, we just harvested those. For all the people out there saying that, oh, they're taking our guns, like, oh yeah, Nixon already did it, and Reagan. Oh, but I don't do that hippie stuff. BS, you totally do. Like, it's a pretty bipartisan thing, and Colorado is a very purple state, so don't give me any of that. Anyways, I actually had to take a pot shot at some, not literally a pot shot, but um, I did a shortcut on someone. I'm not too happy about it, but I hate it when people try to hijack. So I follow Governor Polis on the Facebooks, right? And I watch and I see so many good things that he's doing. Of course, he's advertising for himself. He's up for, I mean, not really advertising so much as like, you got to show proof that you're doing your job. I mean, like, especially for a position like that. I mean, part of it is the whole, be careful with admiring your own charity and work because it's cringy to want to only do charity for the recognition. And granted, we get dopamine, we get endorphins from recognition for charitable goods. It feels good. That's why Christmas is so awesome, because you give gifts and then people are hardly ever concerned about what they get unless they're kids. Like, and as you get older, you're more and more concerned about how it came off what you did for someone else, that you could give a rip less about what's done for you. And part of that's being a parent too. Like, I do everything for my kids now. Like, the reason I muse all this and why I rack my brain on trying to fix these problems, my dad did it too. It's because, like, holy cow, like, we're leaving this to, good luck, kids. Like, here's a pretty big and dangerous and scary mess, and nobody wants it. So back to the eating the rich. Don't do it. Like, here's a better way. We need to work together to basically make it to where living on this earth with all this nice stuff is attainable by anyone working 40 hours a week. That's it. You just got to work. Whatever you do, it's kind of like Star Trek. And I haven't watched a whole lot of it. I was more of a Star Wars nerd, but like the idea of Star Trek and the Federation of Planets and the Federation that like a global government, like what the UN was supposed to be. We all work together for a collective. Like, yeah, let's go ahead and get some emeralds. But yeah, it's for the glory and the betterment of all life. And like their prime directive when they visit these other places is to not interfere, to not pick one side or the other, but give counsel and give advice in a peaceful way. Because that's the other thing. You can't force advice on people. And that's why so much in politics comes off as an attack or an affront or an assault. Because it's like, they bombard you with these things. And especially when they try to manipulate emotions, which granted is huge in business. I did take a few business classes in marketing. Like, there's this idea of guerrilla marketing where and it sounds violent because the guerrillas, for those that don't know, spelt like Guer, illas, whatever, meant the type of warfare that this country used against the Britons. Like, we hid in trees and like we didn't march down in formal formation and line up to shoot each other with a wall of volley. Like, we didn't play fair or fight fair. We fought dirty, we fought low, we killed people on Christmas Day. Like, we did some messed up stuff, and rightfully so. We wanted to break away from the stranglehold that was taxation without representation, or England basically trying to rule the world and tell people what to do. And the same thing happened with Xerxes and the 300. You watch that movie, what was it, the Peloponnesian King, King Xerxes, I think was all that. And I did take classes on that where we studied, yeah, let's go ahead. It's kind of highway robbery, but all right. But anyways, it's human nature because we think that we can do it better for everyone, and we will do as much as we can. But we also got to weigh those choices with. So a little more backstory. The Xerxes thing is any country that would submit would enjoy the glory of the kingdom. Like, they would get all the gifts and all the basically slaves at the time, sex slaves and otherwise, and riches and all that of the conquered people. So the conquered people would become slaves and sex slaves. Like, really degrading and really horribly psychologically damaging, let alone just slavery, but you add the extra component, that's a whole nother realm of messed up. And again, we're humans. This wasn't just like people from this country will do that and people from this country will do that. No, we all did messed up stuff like this, England being the most recent. And I love England too. I hope to go sometime. And I was worried that I had offended the queen somehow back when I was off my meds, quite literally. Like, that was one of my concerns, was like, I said some messed up things on air, and I didn't actually, like, do anything really messed up, but I tried to, like, say, like, fuddy-duddy would be a crime or some kind of silly mask that could censor things that you wouldn't want certain people seeing by default, like if it's someone from an age group or a social group. I mean, thankfully, a lot of it's understood now that, like, humor's one thing. If you know the person, I don't know, it's all potentially damaging. And I have a lot of uncles that's all we do all day is we share memes back and forth, and a lot of them cross a line or five, and we don't mean it in the hateful way. Like, we'll be pretty honest. If we hate you, and hate's a strong word, I don't think I'd ever hate anybody like really bad. Maybe just hate their actions or their time in their life or like what they're going through currently, but not the person, and like separating, decoupling that is important. Also, I'm already maxed out. I don't know why I got all gung ho. I guess it's not too much overkill. We'll move it closer to here too. I think I already started. There we go. So, I don't know. People are people, and that's the biggest thing to remember when you're doing anything, literally anything. And I have a lot of friends and family that work in corrections or law enforcement, or we're on the receiving end of corrections and law enforcement. And like, so that's why I listen to a lot of different types of people, and that's why like I don't know everything. Sorry, I'm not Clarissa Explains It All. That was a popular show in the '90s on the Nickelodeons. Yeah, where she explained things to kind of give people an inner look at the teenage psyche and the current problems going on, which, as silly as that does sound, it is important because as fast as times change, a lot of times people don't understand that, like, oh wait, what I went through isn't nearly the same as what my kids are going through. Like, I saw this on the YouTube. I watch so much YouTube that I see all these things that are just like very thought provoking, and like, and one of them was, I forget, he's this really funny dude that, not to be racist, but like Middle Eastern or like medium skin, like darker than me. We'll just leave it at that. More like my brother Abdul. Like, and he is not by blood, but definitely my brother. So, anyways, sorry, my little soapbox of I'm not racist because I have, so and so friends. So, I am racist sometimes on accident. I don't mean to. I don't mean it out of hate. We all do it. So, anyway, sorry, that was way off tangent. What to do today? I think I figured out why my playground was hidden from view from people. I think you have to have an account to view, and so for the playground is what. Let me back up a little bit. So I have a tutorial that's nearing 50,000 views on Coding Game. It's pretty awesome, but I admit it's kind of cheating how I got there. I've been posting the link on X app, and then people go to it, but there's a good chance that some of those people are bots, and that's not why I'm doing it. It's just I don't know a better way to do it without getting the bots. And then I've looked at it from different browsers, not a lot, but like I've definitely looked at it from different browsers. Like, I mean, like different Chrome profiles. I mean, but not to cheat. Like, it's kind of. Also, I have two kids that I showed them that, and I think that was part of how I justified that. But anyways, no, the point is a lot of those people didn't make accounts, and I think that's what Coding Game is trying to clamp down on, and I respect that. And so before, because I was about to ask the question in the Discord and be like, hey, I think my playground or my tutorial is losing some visibility when I tried an incognito or basically another browser as someone else, because my kids do have their own profiles. Like, they have their own browsing experience, so all the stuff that they look at, which I monitor, I watch them, not invasively, but I just like, I just walk around. I'm constantly like in the room with them, and they can do whatever and feel comfortable. And I have a pretty high threshold, like violence, like basically the South Park mentality. So anyone who's not seen the South Park movie, yeah, you should check that out. But it's basically the whole premise is like saying offensive words and telling offensive jokes out of, humor, and trying to just clear the air with things too, because that's what comedy is great for, is like things that people are too polite to talk about and, discuss. Out of courtesy and kindness, they're trying to be kind and courteous and not discuss it, but then the accidental byproduct of that is, well, the problem doesn't get addressed or fixed, and it just festers, and that is society. Western, Eastern, Northern, Southern, all civilization. It's people, like, I guess the biggest thing is, like, if there's enough physical differences between people on average. Like there's this idea that somehow they're built different. And it doesn't help that we make videos that say I'm built different. Sorry. Like I mean, I know it was viral, it was trendy, but again, they didn't intend, their intention was not, I'm going to increase racism factor increase by 5. Like, nah. Or, letting the ego overtake caution and safety. Like, that should be a tattoo. Or what is it? At some time, we were all the victim of physics, meaning like we all slip, fall, whatever. We don't have enough friction to stay upright. Like, oof. And if you ever snowboard, in fact, let's go for a run. Oh, we should make a chair. Oh, okay. That's what we're gonna do. We're gonna make a chair lift up the slope. Yeah. All right. Like you'd be going faster than all this, but like, oh, especially if you do it straight down, and then you like wouldn't be able to stop. I did this when I was in middle school, and then I was like, and then I just laid over and I crashed. Not at the building, but like, let's see. So this is a bad example because I wasn't really near any building. So if I was like up over here, and mind you, all right, so this is a little bit TMI, but I had a family member that used to drive the bus, so I got to go for free. All right, vroom, and then I was like, oh, and then I went to the side where there's nothing, and then like I intentionally fell and crashed and rolled and stuff on my skis. But no, my mom used to drive the school bus that we used to make a ski bus from BV up to Monarch, and so I had free skiing when I was like 5. I was going down Black Diamonds and like not at first, of course. Like I had ski lessons like in ski school, which, ugh, my first love and still love. Sorry. Yeah, she used to teach the kiddos, but anyways, skiing and stuff. But no, so I was a kiddo myself. I had the worm on my skis and I learned. And I don't know where I'm going with all this. That was just really fun. We're gonna make a ski lift. That's what. All right. And I might play around with. I figured out the coding game thing. I should get on there and do some stuff. Like I should make another video of actually like doing some coding, because I've only got like 6 total, and 2 of those are explanations of how to use the playground. But people watching, like now I'm going to say like, all right, well now you have to make an account, which you really should do. If you're trying to be serious about getting a job in tech, you need to make accounts with these places and not be worried about your personal information. Like to a point, yeah, but just don't do illegal things. And by that I mean don't be gross with kids. Like that's it. If you just don't do that, you're fine. Like I mean, we got Pornhub and everything when you're an adult. Like don't worry. Like whatever your urges and your humanity, you're not gonna get in trouble. Just don't be weird and don't do it cringe. Like sorry, that was I get a little heated about that too, because like I mean I tried these projects are some of the projects I'm working on are in order to get people from prison to the community safely and successfully, and then have a ripple effect of less crime overall everywhere. Even if someone's going through a hard time, they're addicted to something, and make it easier for people to pay people back. Like even when they are like down and out and they start making mistakes. Also, I'm thinking of how I want to do this. So we basically need like a cart to go up, and we could even have poles off the side. I mean, we can't make it a genuine one. At the end of the day, it's still going to be a cart taking you up, but then at the top, like, it can keep going and it throws you off. Yeah, I know how to do that. The disruptor or the activator rail. All right, so we need... Let's just build a prototype and just make it go up above. Blocks. What should we make it out of? I mean, I've been using the gray for that. Maybe that'll just be... Okay. And we could change the speed of it too, like make it go slow, like to be like a legit chairlift. Oh, I was going to talk about the voting system and try to do that. I know it's like a broken record. I talk about it all the time, but I want to try to build some of it today. And like where I'm stuck, like I could easily keep, spend some more time, and it's like the bike shed thing, or like, oh, this bike shed should have this, and then it should have that, and then by the time you actually build the bike shed, it took way longer than it needed to, and you don't really have what you wanted. So I'm also trying to think of how be at least like 10 blocks up, and do we have to like gather like here, or where is a good... I feel like this would be a good, but then we got to go up over that. Like there's some villagers that stuck wandering up there. Yeah, let's just do that. So Oops. Okay, where are we at? 10. We're at 71. Up to 78. Just gotta do 81. There we go. So this is the level to be 10 higher. Okay. What's going on? My phone is going crazy. All right. Oops. So yeah, just doing a lot of discussions on XApp, basically, like with people, and thankfully it's gotten a lot better, more civil. Like, I mean, when Elon first took over Twitter and made it into XApp, what he did is he changed up the algorithm so people that would have their echo chambers basically had the echo chambers reversed, like. And the way that most algorithms work on social media is they keep track of the types of profiles that you interact with, like with the things that you like, and then it draws conclusions based on a certain group of factors, like political standing, religious standing, angry, like, how many violent angry words does this person use? Like how many, oh, this person would like that. Like, and in an effort to really curate a feed and ultimately increase views and usage, which is a sales tool for advertising, because the more views that your advertisement's getting, the more chance that someone's going to buy your product. And the dangerous thing with XApp was, like, so the downside of Elon taking it over was basically a lot of fake companies started selling stuff. I fell for something. I asked my buddy, I mean, which was kind of offensive in itself because I'm not rich by any means, but I'm really interested in educational stuff and projects, and I would put up my own money for that. So I was going to try to get this guy a drone who still works up at Monarch Mountain. He's kind of mad at me right now, but we'll hash that out. But anyways, and maybe understandably, if I was so pompous and holier than thou, like, let me buy you a drone. Like, that's not what I meant. It's like, hey, yo, I finally have a good job. Like, I mean, I can spare a drone if we can make it worth it. Like, I mean, if it's for the good of the people, let's do this. Like, would you want to do a project with me, basically? And he was my partner in the cybersecurity boot camp, but we have polar opposite political views. And I will say, he doesn't think women should vote. And you know what? I still want to protect his identity and all that. And I know he doesn't say it out of like, I mean, I think it's an accidental byproduct of like being so angry at the idea of women leadership. Like, and if you're, okay, so I could see it as the very race or very sexist thing of, well, women don't make, as much as men, or they don't work as much as men. They're not as much of the breadwinner. And while that has been true for a long time, like the average worker in a house would be the dad, the husband, the man. I mean, and a lot of times, especially if it's related to like, wait, how am I? Oh, how do I want to do this? Because I basically need. Oh, okay. I could just do that and then that, right? Yeah, it looks about right. Okay. So, jeez. Uh, yeah, let's do that. Work smarter, not harder. Sharpen the axe. Left, right, click, click this. All right, but anyways, yeah, the accidental patriarchy is how I describe it. I mean, we've just had so many male leaders and male workers and all this and all that. Oh, sorry about that. Like, because a lot of jobs do require more male work in like construction, and construction is just kind of a bad example, but like, or here's this, an example of Native American culture. Like, quite often the women would be the hunters or would be the gatherers while the men would go out and hunt. It was less traumatic if a man was attacked by an animal or a mammoth or whatever, like it was more like than the woman because it was women are generally more nurturing. They raise the babies, like they are the ones that have to do that, and like it's a very big duty, and that's extremely important to survival. Now, and here's the flip side of that. Okay, so that's the archaic way of things. Now that we have the ability to try to even that out, and I've said this before, like that's, in my opinion, the reason for a lot of identity and pronoun necessities, because people don't feel equal, no matter how great they can achieve things in life. If they ain't a man, a white man with land, like then they're still not as good as a white man with land, like. And that is how our country started. It's like you had to be a wealthy landowner or something, or like you had to be, and you couldn't be a woman. You couldn't vote if you were a woman, and so, and whether that was, again, people aren't trying to be like evil and mean, but there's accidental evil and meanness, animosity, I guess, but it's still there. So we need to put aside our pride for a sec and admit that we got to fix this problem. That's why I'm so stoked that we might have a woman president. Like that's only gonna be like one step towards, because we had 45, no 46. Biden was 46, right? So, and the only reason I know the numbers is because Trump on his freaking hat, like number 45 and number 47. Hoorah on all this, even though he's never served. I haven't either, so I'm not saying that, but I know a lot of people that have, and a lot of them. No, I'm kidding. It's a mixed bag, about half and half. Like him, half hate him. Anyways. Okay, so now there's a direct route to the top. So we do have like a rudimentary. Now I don't know if I really do want it slow. Like I think I just want it fast and efficient. So like, oh, and this would be a good experiment. Like we could see if there was even like a speed difference. I mean, let's do this one first. So we need this at the base, and then that'll be 1, 2. So this is what I normally do. So I use 2, and then you see videos with there's videos on YouTube where they just have like complete power rails, and like while that you might think that that makes it faster, more powerful, and it might in certain situations. I don't know. Like as I say that, I'm thinking about those videos where they're slingshotting the animals in the cart, just like launching them because you can get the speed or whatever, and then you change the track. Like that's what I want to figure out, is how to change the track and then like make like these really complex railways. Okay, so we'll just leave it. Oh man, vacant. Yeah. It doesn't matter because it's only 10 blocks. Whew. Like that's probably, wow. Anyways, so now we need, I need to go hit the slopes. It's so expensive though, and back when I worked at the ski resort, I could do it because I was going there anyway. That's where I had to go for my job. Like now that I don't work at the ski resort, I mean, don't get me wrong, I love my job. I love sitting at a desk and like I'm not worried as much about like being homeless or housing insecure from paycheck to paycheck. I mean, I ain't rich, but I can buy a drone if I spread out the payments, like 4 payments over 4 months, which they do now for no interest. Yeah, I'm total advertisement, but no, like any country could be doing the stuff we're doing in America. Like any country could be as great as America and still be their own identity, their own country. And that's what I want to try to promote. So I want to make a bunch of hippie farms and get China to legalize weed. Wait, where? He just went way left with that, and I did. Uh, Goes explained to somebody on the X app. So this book, The Perfect Weapon, by I think Singer, Charles Singer or something. But anyways, um, it has a passage about the government's trying to recruit some of the best United States cybersecurity professionals, the best tech experts. And he's talking to this manager of some company. I don't even remember. It doesn't matter. But like, it was a real story. And this guy's like, I don't think you'd want my best. And then he's like, oh, come on now, Harold, Gerald, or whatever, like calling him his first name. You know, what? Are they worried that you think I won't take them because they smoked a little weed in college? And the manager just goes, nah, because they smoke weed on the job. Oh, there's the alarm. It's like Nate Dogg, smoke weed every day. I mean, don't do it every day, but And especially if you're younger than 18 or 21, depending on your country, because your brain is still developing technically until your mid to late 30s. But you're probably already going to have alcohol as an experiment, or, most countries, the parents let the kids at least try alcohol before sending them off to live on their own, because the first thing they're going to do is they're going to try to find alcohol and see what it's about. And so, same with weed, like, but that's the dangerous part. You need to educate your kids and let them know that, like, okay, weed and alcohol, they're not the end of the world. Alcohol is more dangerous. The other stuff, very addicting potentially. Like, and just be real. Not mushrooms though. And you learn this in fifth grade, and I hope they're being more honest. Because when I had Dare, it was like how to identify it, how to tell people that you see it, like basically how to snitch out your neighborhood, and like. Not so much the actual. I mean, they did show us pictures of like the actual effects, like your face will rot away, but that's not really directly just from the drug use alone. That's what people are figuring out. I know we're at time, so I'll go over it pretty quick, but I do just want to say this. It is more dangerous to get caught with the drug or alcohol than it is to have the drug or alcohol. That's real. And like having to do, and I've definitely said this before, Hunter Biden, like in his hotel room with his crack and his prostitutes, like his ladies of the evening. And see, there you go again. I can't even really identify that. I'm also trying to keep this PG, so this is kind of ridiculous, but all of the other factors and costs are what make people unhealthy and poor and do shortcuts and like rob and stuff. It's like if everybody could afford just a hotel room and go chill out and go do some crazy stuff for a couple nights and then be back at work the next day. Like, because he's a successful business person. Like, he's working in places that, like, if you showed up looking like that for too long, I mean, if you showed up looking like that for a day, like, this was his private life that came to be exposed. If it was in his public life, yeah. Like, so anyways, I just want to draw that comparison. Is like, we need to stop demonizing and vilifying people for these choices that they make, whether they're good or bad choices. And it also depends on the time and, of course, the legality. But if we just end the war on drugs and stop, like, treating people like animals for being curious, you know, we're creating so many more problems than we're solving. And it's just working backwards. Like, still, if you steal, you go to jail. If you hit somebody, you go to jail. If you assault somebody, sexually or otherwise, you go to jail. Like, that's all fine. You smoke some silly weed, just don't drive. Like, that's it. Don't hit anybody, don't drive. Don't otherwise break laws, like, and then you're good. So, anyways, ta-ta for now. I'll see you in the next one. Happy Sunday.